Oh man, Ijaz one back with another video, and today I've seen something worrying in the charts for Bitcoin and some of our favorite altcoins. So if you're invested in Bitcoin or Phantom or any other altcoin for that matter, make sure you watch till the very end because there are two key news topics which are weighing in on the market today. We're going to go through that. We're going to look at something technical which I've seen on the charts which isn't the best of patterns we've just created, and we're going to look at the wider macroeconomics. So if you appreciate that, hit up the likes, subscribe, and let's get straight into it. But before we do, you've got to support NordVPN, who've been kind enough to help us all stay safe in crypto. It's critical that we have ourselves set up on a VPN. It's the most basic of measures you can take from a privacy point of view, and NordVPN are the best in the market in terms of getting you a fast, quick, and efficient VPN. It's like $2 or $3 a month, guys. It's an absolute no-brainer. Once you have it set up, you don't even notice it's there, but it means you can control your privacy. People don't know where you're logging in from. You can mask your IP address, and that really does help. And even if you don't even want it for your crypto, which, by the way, that's the only reason I use it, you can use it for Netflix if you want different shows to appear from different countries or play games from different regions and various other reasons, right? So go check out NordVPN, click the link in the description. You'll see how much data of yours they can find just from your IP address. Absolute scary when you click the link and see they know all this data about you. Right, let's get straight into the Bitcoin chart, because here on Bitcoin, we got rejected by the important level which we've been talking about. Now, remember, the last few days were quite bullish, right? We had a really good couple of days, and the market was very euphoric. Remember, we monitored fear and greed. Fear and greed run up to about 52 yesterday, and now we've seen it calling off to 39. So what's happened? And remember, I was erring caution, even on my tweets. If you go over to my Twitter page, you'll remember I said I'm expecting more volatility and downside, although I did say this pump was the best pump I've seen from a fundamental point of view. Okay, guys, this was really important. The fact that it happened, even if we fell and give it all back up, it doesn't matter. That was really powerful in the adoption and the use cases we've seen. But now we got rejected at this important level at 44,461. Just call it 44,500. You can see this is where we got rejected numerous times, including this level here. And could we now, last time we got rejected from here, we fell all the way down to lows, all the way down to our lows of 34 again, if you remember. Okay, so not necessarily saying that's where we need to go now. As long as we create a higher low, we're going to be fine, right? So the previous pivot point is down here at this support level at 37. So as long as we rotate before then, we've got plenty of places to rotate. You've got the immediate support line at 43,000 here. You've got your EMA ribbon acting as support along with the 41,659 level. And then if we lose those, then we can look at other areas of support before 37,000. Okay, so we're looking good here. We're still in an upward trend. Higher highs and higher lows at this point in this upward trend movement here from our lows of 34. So that's fine. But what the worrying sign is, we can't get through 44,000 from a technical perspective. And then we've still got our level at 45,500, which we know is the area we got rejected from. That's our rejection point. That's our key level. Because if we zoom out on the daily, then you will see that was the important point, right? Because you can see here from our EMA ribbon, there, this was the rejection point. That's also where we ran to. You can see we can't create that higher high. We need to post a high above it. We need to get above this point here where we got rejected, okay? So we can keep our momentum up and to the right longer term here on Bitcoin. Now, I'm going to show you one bullish sign in the Bitcoin chart, so make sure you stay tuned until the very end. But before that, I want to explain why is the market down, right? We've seen we've got rejected from 44,500, but why? Well, first and foremost, we know the war and the tensions continue to rise, right? Russian troops enter strategic port Kherson, 1 million flee Ukraine. Things aren't getting better. If anything, they're escalating, they're getting worse. Russia's getting more aggressive because they want to get their job done, right? And the longer it takes, the more power and force they're going to use. We can see European indices were all down today, including the FTSE here in London, where I am, down 1.34%. If we head on over to the US markets, which have just opened up pretty flat here on the Dow Jones and the S&P, Nasdaq slightly down too. Okay, now we're getting some stabilization because we're seeing oil prices and bond yields stabilize a little bit. But what's spooking crypto specifically is this rhetoric and EU to make sure Russia cannot circumvent sanctions with crypto assets. Lemaire. Okay, now this has been an interesting topic which we've been speaking about here on this channel. I know some of my subscribers have mentioned this in the comments, rightly so. Could this be an issue? Because we enjoyed the pump to the upside, which was the bunch of different use cases which we covered in terms of people using crypto. Now, one of those use cases which we discussed was that normal Russian citizens and also some of the oligarchs who were getting sanctioned were turning to crypto as a means to bypass, to circumnavigate sanctions that have been placed on them to prevent other countries from seizing their assets. Now, a lot of you guys were saying, and rightly so, could this be an issue, right? Is this just going to attract more regulation on crypto and we don't necessarily want the attention of regulators? My pushback to that, guys, and yes, this is going to create a small fluctuation in the market and push us to the downside because we don't like titles like this. We don't like headlines like this. But in the long run, nothing can happen. Like, that's what we need to understand here, right? These regulations, first and foremost, they've been on the agenda for a long time. And whether it's the EU, whether it's the SEC, they can't wrap their heads around crypto yet. They're years behind still in understanding what these things are, let alone placing in regulations. Okay? And we've heard from SEC, we've heard from Gary Gensler, Jerome Powell even spoke a little bit about stablecoins in his address yesterday. So we know that they're on top of it, and we know that they're aware of it, but they're not on top of it. Okay? They've not managed to put in any good regulation. Can't understand the technology. So for the true Russian oligarch who's using decentralized means, who's using privacy coins, who's unable to be tracked, what are their regulations going to do? The most they'll be able to do short-term quickly is get the likes of Coinbase and Binance and these centralized exchanges to hand over data, which is all that governments are good at. Governments are good at getting companies registered in their country to hand over data. And that's what we've seen so far. They're not good at introducing regulation to, really make it difficult for people to use the decentralized internet. And here's the funny thing. Remember, what were the different use cases we mentioned? We saw the Bitcoin pump because, not just because Russians were using it, Ukrainians were using crypto, right? I mentioned Ukrainians were running to ATM machines and 1 trillion of cash was taken out of the economy, taken out of banks. There was a run on the banks. So Ukrainians have realized, hang on a second, when we needed it most, the fiat currency wasn't there to help us. Crypto. The Russian government, the foreign minister himself, is accepting donations via crypto, including Polkadot and Doge, right? So we've seen that. Now, so therefore, any regulation that they put in, how are they going to put in regulations that are directed just at Russians on something which has no owner, is immutable, it's ownerless, it's permissionless, it's in the blockchain, right? How are they going to introduce something that just affects Russian oligarchs, but nobody else? Not the normal Russian citizens, doesn't affect Ukrainians, doesn't affect us here in London or you in the States or wherever you are. How can they do that? They can't. Right? It's a double-edged sword. So this is the same thing with the sanctions they're doing currently. The sanctions they're doing currently in the West, it's backfiring on them, right? So if Apple are not selling iPhones to Russia, that's hurting Apple sales, and it's hurting Apple shareholders, and it's hurting the wallets of stock investors like myself or anybody else who's invested in Apple, right? So these things backfire. If you're not buying oil or gas from Russia, that's backfiring on Germany, who rely on those things from Russia. Right, so it has an effect, and so anything they do in crypto is going to have a backfire on their own success, right? Which is where they're using crypto for their own purposes as well. This, whilst yes, we may see some immediate effect by this, long term, this doesn't worry me. Regulation in the long run is very good. It's long. It takes time for it to get good, but I'm for regulation in the right way. I don't want over excessive bureaucracy. I want a good amount of regulation that will help crypto become widespread. Because let's face it, guys, I know maybe many of you will like some of these YouTubers who are promoting 100x crypto margin. They're not helping the crypto space, right? These constant liquidations, these constant volatility swings from margin and 100x leverage trades are not good for crypto. So you want those regulated. The rehypothecation problem of stable coins, where you're giving your $1 and they constantly mint lots of USDT or whatever, right? And they keep printing Tether and rehypothecation where it's not actually backed one-to-one, is a problem for crypto. I want these things to be resolved. And I always use the analogy, until we had traffic lights and regulation around driving, cars did not proliferate. But cars did not make progress. And it'll be the same for crypto. When we have healthy, manageable on-ramps into crypto, and it's safe, and we don't have pump and dumps, don't have crazy leverage, adoption will pick up. We will get on our journey to mass adoption. So long run, a little bit of regulation is good. What's not good, and what I'll speak out about, is if I see excessive regulation without warrant or need, right? That's different. And then we'll have to speak up against that. So this is one thing that is weighing on the markets as we'd expect. Now, the other thing which is weighing on the markets, and one of the reasons why, again, we've been rejected from this 44,500 key level here, you can see we're kind of just wandering sideways here, was Jerome Powell reiterated that we will see a rate hike of 0.25%. And he even said, he went as far as to say, I will be recommending a 0.25% interest rate hike, okay? So we know that's pretty much what we're getting now. We can almost price it in. The market's priced it in. We can head over to the Fed Rate Monitor tool and look at the figure they give us, which is based on the CME. They use the futures, 30-day Fed Fund futures prices to calculate this. And you can see 99.3% has priced in the first rate hike. So basically, you'd have to be really silly and stupid to not see this coming. Jerome Powell's fully telegraphed it. He made it super clear, so the market should not have an interest rate tantrum, right? You don't want that. And Jerome Powell has tried to avoid that at the best possible. Now, what will spook markets is if on March the 10th, in 7 days, we get our February reading for CPI. It comes in super high. And Jerome Powell sits down with his team in the FOMC on March the 15th and 16th and says, hang on, 0.25 is not going to cut it. We've had a good jobs figure. We've had a crazy CPI figure. What's going to happen? We need to do 0.5%. That can then... Okay, so that's what we have to watch out for. But the market is just now pricing in the fact that this is now all but confirmed. Okay, this 0.25 is all but confirmed. And that is why we're now seeing this little bit of a cooling off here on Bitcoin. Now, time for the good news, as I've promised. And if you've stuck it through all the way to the here, you deserve the good news. And the good news is this. We have flipped our EMA ribbon here on the daily. This is always a good sign. We've got room to cool down all the way up to 43, even on this line, guys. Sorry, let me just zoom in so I can show you this a bit more clearer. You can get all the way down here to your EMA ribbon, which is sitting at about 42, and you can even penetrate it further down up to 41,000, and we're perfectly good to bounce from here and move to the upside. Now, historically, if you're to track this and you're to look at all the historical times, we won't do it just now, but go back and try this. You can see when we've closed powerfully with volume above our EMA ribbon, get a good move to the upside. Just look at this one here. Nice close above our EMA ribbon. The ribbon then flips and starts expanding, and it's a big move to the side. If you keep going back, you'll see further examples of this. Look at this. Nice close above the EMA ribbon. This is at the bottom of our cup and handle pattern. Really nice, big, extensive move to the upside, okay? And you can continue to go back and zoom out and see these kind of effects. See this one here? Close above. Huge rally all the way up to 64, 65,000 here on our run. And this is from, 18,000 here. Huge run. So we've seen evidence that whenever we close our EMA ribbon above our EMA ribbon here on the daily chart, it normally indicates a big run to the upside. Now, obviously, we have to take any technical analysis with a pinch of salt, given the kind of environment we're in. Fundamentals come first, macroeconomics come first, and therefore we have to expect volatility up to the 16th of March, when the FOMC meet. I've been saying this for many weeks now, and we're seeing that play out. We're seeing a lot of swings to the upside. We're seeing liquidations to the downside. We're seeing a lot of movement up and down. There's no clear road for us to run all the way back to the 50,000s just yet, but it will come once things start to settle down, once we're through peak further. That is why my strategy continues to remain the same, which is I'm dollar cost averaging in. I'm hodling. I'm not changing any of my positions, trying to add to my positions where I can, when I see little pullbacks. I'm not chasing crazy green days. If I have big pumps, I'm chilling out. When it traces, I'll pick some more up, and I'm just making sure my portfolio, more important, is aligned to whichever coins I think are going to explode. Remember the elastic band, the ones which are going to go pew when Bitcoin gets going. They're the ones we need to position ourselves in. Don't have any times for weak projects right now. I'm not even giving it any mind space. The kind of coins which in a bull market I'd look at, like some of these really low market cap coins, I just don't have time for it now. There's so many great value, strong coins out there right now. I just need those in my portfolio ready for this next run, all the way back up on Bitcoin to 69,000, and then so hope that helps you guys. Hope that clarifies what's going on here in the market. If you appreciate this type of content and you appreciate this blend of technicals and fundamentals all in one video, then make sure you're hitting the like button. Make sure you're subscribing. Make sure you're supporting this channel so we can reach more people. Don't forget to check out NordVPN. Links in the description. Coupon code is OMEN. That will get you 70% off. And it costs like $2 or $3 a month, guys. Absolute no-brainer. Get yourself set up on a VPN. You don't want to be one of those people that took the risk and then all their privacy was exposed, right? So make sure you get yourself set up. What I'm going to do at the end of this video is I'm going to link up the video which from yesterday on what's going on in terms of crypto. Make sure you go watch that video where I explain exactly what's going on with Bitcoin. A really important one for you to wrap your head around. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one.